සුපිරි අධිවේගයක් පරදා ඔබ මවිත කරවන වේගයක් විඳගන්න. පියවර 3කින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම් ෆයිබර් ඔප්ටික් ජාලයට එක්වන්න. slp.lk වෙත පිවිසෙන්න.
Good evening. Tonight, stranded. Tense situation erupts at the Fort railway station following an unannounced strike by railway trade unions. Big tax on small vehicles. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe clarifies in Parliament how the newly revised tax on vehicles under 1000cc came to be. Rule of law common to all. The General Secretary of Bodubala Sena sentenced to 19 years of rigorous imprisonment. Elections at peril. Professor G.L. Pires does not see issues with legal competence in delayed elections.
What is lacking is not legal competence but political will.
I urge the government not to flirt with people's patience.
And the final journey. The funeral of prominent defining Tamil Nadu politician M. Karunanidhi held in southern India. A stampede at the event disrupts the ceremony. Live across the nation, this is Sri Lanka's news channel, Derana 24/7. Hello everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny and welcome to First at 9. Many events to report to you tonight, so we start off with the tense situation that occurred down at the Fort railway station. Railway trade unions today launched a strike without prior public announcement following a decision by the Cabinet of Ministers to withdraw a cabinet paper regarding salaries of railway employees. This led to a tense situation at the Colombo Fort railway station this evening when inconvenienced commuters started remonstrating in an expression of their distress.
Trade unions consisting of station masters, railway guards, railway operatives and locomotive engineering operators decided to launch a strike at around 3 p.m. today. The strike commenced after Secretary to the Ministry of Transport informed the trade unions that the cabinet paper regarding salaries of railway employees had been rejected during the cabinet meeting this week. The particular cabinet paper had been approved during the cabinet meeting held last week. Members of the trade union alleged that ministry officials did not consult them before the decision was taken.
Our trade unions agreed to engage in a strike today because of the decision to withdraw the cabinet paper without having a discussion with us, even when we had requested a meeting. We completely condemn this decision in a backdrop where advanced level examinations are being held. They must think twice about this sort of decisions. The government is completely responsible for this situation.
The strike led to a tense situation at the Colombo Fort railway station as commuters were left frustrated over the sudden stoppage of their mode of transport. Commuters were seen demonstrating in distress. Both lanes of the Orchid Mavata opposite the Fort railway station was also blocked by the protesting commuters late in the day. However, protesters later went inside the station to express their distress. Operation rooms within the premises were also vandalized by angry commuters.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today informed Parliament that the tax imposed on vehicles with an engine capacity below 1000cc will not affect letters of credit opened on or before the 1st of this month. The Premier went on to say that those falling within that category can clear their imported vehicles from Sri Lanka Customs until the 31st of January next year. Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker Anand Kumarasiri had to adjourn the parliamentary session until tomorrow due to the absence of parliamentarians of the opposition to debate the draft of the Apartment Ownership Special Provisions Act.
The Minister of Finance excessively hiked tax on vehicles below 1000cc. However, it does not affect the letters of credit opened before the 1st of August. Furthermore, those vehicles can be cleared from customs before the 31st of January next year. We see this as a move which enables another party to rake in an illicit profit. I humbly request that you inform the Parliament how this was done. The tax revision gives the opportunity to those who open letters of credit on or before the 1st of August to clear their vehicles at the previous duty rate. They can clear their vehicles before the 31st of January in 2019. This move was taken so those who open letters of credit before the said date are not inconvenienced. The government also expects to amend the percentages of relevant tax in the future. Do you have any idea how many LCs have been opened during the past 2 to 3 months? I believe that such a number was opened knowing very well that a tax was on the way. We also believe that if you look into the matter, you will find that some racketeers in Dubai stand to heavily profit from this. I can look into the matter, but I don't suspect so. However, I will ask the subject minister to clarify this in Parliament.
The Court of Appeal today delivered its verdict in the case pertaining to General Secretary of the organisation Bodubala Sena, Venerable Galagoda Atte Gnanasaratthera, being in contempt of court. Delivering the verdict, the court found the Thera guilty on 4 counts and sentenced the leader of the Bodubala Sena to 19 years of rigorous imprisonment to be served in 6 years.
General Secretary of the organisation Bodubala Sena, Venerable Galagoda Atte Gnanasaratthera, was accused of conducting contempt of court at the Homagama Magistrates Court premises on the 25th of January in 2016. The Thera's conduct relates to his behaviour following the hearing of the case pertaining to missing journalist Prageet Eknaligoda. Accordingly, a 2-member judge bench of the Court of Appeal delivered its verdict on the charges of contempt of court this morning, finding him guilty on 4 counts. Defendant Venerable Gnanasaratthera was not present at the hearing when the verdict was delivered, and the Defence Counsel informed court that his client had been admitted to Sri Jayawardhanapura General Hospital owing to health concerns. Throughout the hearings, the Thera insisted that he was sensitive to the plight of the military intelligence officer who was denied bail since the military officer contributed to freeing the country from the LTTE. President's Counsel Manohara De Silva, appearing on behalf of Venerable Gnanasaratthera, informed court that his client hopes to appeal the court's ruling. Accordingly, the court ordered that submissions be made on the 29th.
The joint opposition alleges that the government is spying on their adversaries. Addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today, parliamentarian of the UPFA, Dallas Alha-Peruma, said telephones of certain politicians, members of the media as well as law enforcement authorities are being tapped.
This government is monitoring telephone conversations of the public, and they have imported modern and sophisticated equipment from Japan towards this end. The equipment is set up in a house around Nugegoda. The operation is implemented under the supervision of a DIG. Not only members of the joint opposition, but telephones of journalists and media heads are also tapped. Even the police have tapped mobile phones of identified police officers. This morning, we received information of an order to monitor conversations of Minister Hakeem. The day they tap phones of judges is not far away.
Meanwhile, Cabinet co-spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne refuted allegations levelled by parliamentarian Dallas Alha-Peruma on wiretapping. The minister responded to a question raised by a journalist on the matter at the Cabinet media briefing held in Colombo today. During the briefing, journalists also inquired about a possible rift between the head of state and the Prime Minister.
ගමේතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කරුව කැබිනට් පේපර් එක ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරා කියලා කියනකොට මේක රටට පේන්නේ නැමෙතුමා විශාල ගැටුමක් මේ නායකින් දෙදෙනා අතර තියෙනවා කියලා.
නෑ එහෙම එකක් නෑ.
There is no such rift and no such incident of a cabinet paper being rejected. This cabinet paper will be taken into consideration next week. It's about what sort of facilities should be given to parliamentarians.
තීන්දුවක් ගැනීම සඳහා
ඒතකොට අපි ජනාධිපතිතුමා උත්සවයකදී කියන්නේ මේ මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ වැඩි කිරීම මෙහෙම යෝජනාවක් වගේ දෙයක් කතාවක් තියෙනවා. එහෙම ආවොත් මම කැබිනට් එකේදී බලා ගන්න කියලා
එහෙම
ජනාධිපතිතුමා
යෝජනාවක්
Such a proposal was discussed during the party leaders' meeting at Parliament.
සාකච්ඡා කළා.
වෛද්‍ය සංගමයේ චෝදනා කරනවා මේ ඔබතුමා වෛද්‍ය සභාව විසිරුවා කරන කටයුතු කරමින් යනවා කියලා.
වෛද්‍ය
Members of the GMOA have a mental problem. A medical council is established not to talk about issues of doctors but about issues of the public. They are making false accusations about me trying to dissolve the medical council. The GMOA is only playing games similar to party politics.
ඒ වගේ සෙල්ලම් මේ දාන්නේ.
ලෝක වෙළඳපොලේ තෙල් මිල ඉහළ ගිහලා තියෙනවා. 10 වෙනිදාට අපේ ලංකාවේ තෙල් මිල ඉහළ යන්න පුළුවන්ද?
ඉහළ ගියොත් ඉහළ යයි, පහළ ගියාම පහළ යනවා.
ඒ වගේම අර්ජුනන්තුන් ඇමතුමා කියලා තියෙනවා ඉහළ ගියාට ලෝක වෙළඳපොලේ ලංකාවේ එහෙම ඉහළ දාන්න එපා ඒක සානුකම්පිතව හිතලා උතරන්න කියලා.
මණ්ඩලයක යම්.
People can't say whatever they feel like once a decision is made at the cabinet. A cabinet minister must raise these concerns at the cabinet meeting itself.
වලට ඇවිල්ලා ඒක ප්‍රකාශ කරා.
ජල සලප්පරම මන්ත්‍රීවරයා රජයට චෝදනාවක් කරලා තියෙනවා. ආණ්ඩුව ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂයේ වගේම මාධ්‍යවේදීන්ගේ සහ පොලිස් නිලධාරීන්ගේ දුරකථන ඇමතුම් වලට සවන් දෙනවා කියලා.
ඒගොල්ලෝ හිතනවා ඇති
They must be under the impression that all those practices they adhered to are still being continued. As far as the government is concerned, no such practice is being conducted.
රජය දැනුවත් තරම් නැහැ.
In other local stories we have for you tonight, Army Commander Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake refutes claims made in some quarters which alleges army camps in the north have been withdrawn. Speaking to media during a visit to Kandy this morning, Lieutenant General Senanayake also moved to impress that routine activities of the army are given false interpretations and only the army itself is aware of its inner workings.
උතුරේ කිසිම කඳුරක් ඉවත් කිරීමක් සිදු වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Not a single army camp will be removed in the northern province, but we are in the process of releasing land to civilians. There is no cause for concern as this process does not involve removal of army camps in the northern and the eastern provinces.
නැගෙනහිරත් සිදු වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
අමුද කණ්ඩායම් අඩු කිරීමක් සිදු වෙනවද?
එහෙම සිදුවීමක් නෙමෙයි.
Nothing of that nature is happening. There, however, is a dialogue among the public, but all that's happening is that we're in the middle of a restructuring process. It is the same with any organisation in the world, and a sports team would serve as an example. Some have given the wrong interpretation to this process, and that's the issue. Only Sri Lanka Army knows what is happening, and others have no comprehension of it. There is also no need to reveal our processes.
ඒක හැමෝටම කියන්න අවශ්‍යත් නැහැ.
The topic of provincial council election has drawn various views across the board with diverging interpretations on the delays of polls offered by political parties as well as the government. Offering his interpretation on the matter, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Pires says what is lacking is the political will to hold the election and not the legal competency. Professor Pires also holds the chairman of the Election Commission accountable over the delayed polls, saying that he is evading his duty.
The situation today is that 3 provincial councils in this country have become defunct, and this has been the case for the last 11 months. Now by October this year, 3 more provincial councils cease to exist, and nobody knows when these elections will be held. The position of the Elections Commission is that there is nothing that they can do about it. They are simply passing the ball to the parliament or the courts. This is a profoundly unsatisfactory situation. Our position is that the Elections Commission of Sri Lanka has the full legal capability to hold these elections. What is lacking is not legal competence but political will. Now, the chairman of the Elections Commission has clearly admitted that the new law is not operative. If it is not in operation, the clear effect of the interpretation ordinance is that the previous law, the previous electoral system continues to apply until it is superseded by the new law which must become fully operative. It is not operative. Now this is a very dangerous situation. If the Elections Commission continues to be inactive and gives excuse after excuse for not holding these elections, then the resulting situation is exceedingly dangerous because parliamentary elections can also not be held in keeping with the same modality. So that is the death knell of democracy in this country.
Meanwhile, speaking in Kandy yesterday, Provincial Councillor of the Central Province, Pramita Bandara Tennakon, highlighted the delay in elections as an attack on the country's democracy.
This is a violation of people's right to elect their representatives to the Provincial Council. It is a direct attack on democracy. We are very surprised that the Western powers that act as the guardians of democracy are silent on this matter. A government that postpones elections indefinitely does not have the right to preach democracy. I urge the government not to flirt with people's patience. You are asking for a revolution, and that revolution is around the corner.
Minister of Sustainable Development, Wildlife and Regional Development, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, today insisted on the government's determination to address the country's human-elephant conflict. Increased in farmland and dwindling habitat has pitted the two species against each other, with casualties number racking up on both sides. Addressing the Wildlife Symposium 2018 in Bathramulla yesterday, the minister said that the government is in the process of making policy and institutional reforms, enhancing capacity to bring about a sustainable solution to the conflict.
The government of Sri Lanka has recognized that the long-term sustainability of the environment and natural resources depends on their ability to provide benefits to people and the country. This includes the need to mobilize financing and revenue generation from sustainable use of the natural resources such as nature-based tourism, payment for ecosystem services, and others. The government is already undertaking policy and institutional reforms and building capacity to address the human-elephant conflict, which exemplifies Sri Lanka's challenge to reconcile environmental protection and economic development. Environmental decision-making in Sri Lanka has also been largely focused on mitigating the direct impacts of development projects. The lack of integrated planning has aggravated uncontrolled development pressures, degraded ecosystem quality, and diminished the potential for environmental service provision. The government is making significant efforts to reverse this trend. This is the main rationale behind combining the subject of wildlife conservation and sustainable development under one ministry. We believe that more comprehensive and integrated planning will be particularly important for development in areas where the country's priority protected areas are located.
Now more news from across Sri Lanka.
Deputy Minister of Social Empowerment Ranjan Ramanayake pleaded not guilty to charges of contempt of court at Supreme Court today. The charges were taken up before judge bench comprising Chief Justice Priyasad Dept and Justice Nalin Perera and Prasanna Jayawardena. The Supreme Court decided to take up the case again on the 5th of September. An express train plying from Galle to Colombo evaded a major accident this morning in close proximity to the Angulana station. Residents had spotted a fault in the railway tracks and immediately took measures to halt the train by waving a red flag to warn the train. A project to introduce new technology which assists in taking precautionary measures to evade fire-induced incidents was launched at the Fire Department unit of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy today. An MOU was signed between Commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force Air Marshal Kapila Jayampati and the trustee of the temple Pradeep Nilangadala. A stock of 1,720 bullets used in T-56 firearms were discovered in a plot of land located in the area of Munamaduwa in Vavuniya last evening. According to police, the Vavuniya Magistrates Court has ordered that the ammunition be disposed. A protest march was staged by a group of ETI depositors demanding compensation in Colombo today. Following the protest march, 5 representatives handed over an episode to the central bank after being granted permission by police.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Business News now. Chairperson of the Export Development Board, Indira Malwata, says that the government is on its way to achieving $17.4 billion in exports by the end of the year. Speaking at an event in Colombo today, she added that all government institutions should be committed to the development of exports in the country.
We have a task, we have a goal of achieving $25 billion in 2020. If you look at last year, we had already achieved a 15.2 billion, and we have a target of 17.4 billion to be achieved this year. And when you look at the first half of the export statistics, we have achieved almost 60% of our goal. The whole of government should be involved in exports. It's not only the Export Development Board. I think every minister, every secretary, every department must be committed to developing exports of Sri Lanka. We always talk of these loans that we have to play and all that, and one way you can do that is by increasing our exports.
The chairman of EDB also announced that 10 applicants have been selected to receive market access grants on the 17th of August in Kurunagala.
Companies who want to participate on their own or as a collective, they are in a position to get funding from the EDB. It need not be EDB sponsored, but if a company thinks that they want to go to a particular fair or go and meet a particular buyer, there's a grant. And we don't believe in just giving a grant. The participating company must match the grant so that there's commitment on the part of the company. So we meet 50% of up to 5 million in this grant. And the first grants will be given on the 17th of August in Kurunagala for 10 people who have applied for the grants.
The eccentric CEO of electric car manufacturer Tesla, Elon Musk, announces that he plans to take the company private. Musk says pressure from investors means that decisions are not always made in the company's long-term interest, and he wants it to run the way SpaceX, the company he privately owns.
Elon Musk, the chief executive of electric car manufacturer Tesla, is considering taking the company private. Musk said delisting from the stock exchange meant Tesla would no longer be pressured into making short-term decisions to appease investors. Rather unconventionally, he took to Twitter in announcing the move. He said that he is considering taking Tesla private at $420 and funding is secured. At $420 per share, a deal would represent a 22.8% premium to Tesla's closing price on Monday, making it one of the biggest go-private deals with a price tag of about $72 billion. Tesla's shares were up by 6.5% at $363.46. The company had a market value of $58 billion as of Monday's close. Musk owns nearly 20% of the company. Although Musk claimed to have secured funding to buy out shareholders, he did not offer any further details. He, however, also warned that a final decision has not been made about the move. On a separate note, Financial Times reported yesterday that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, overseen by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has built an undisclosed stake of between 3 to 5% in Tesla.
Let's take you to the stock market now. The all share price index closed at 6,120.69, up 3.06 points, while the more liquid S&P SL20 index rose 26.15 points to close at 3,312.53. Meanwhile, the turnover crossed 967 million rupees, with total foreign purchasing accounting for 69.1% of the turnover. For analysis of today's trading session, we have Hirunika Pereira from First Capital Holdings.
Today market ended in green, reverting the negative sentiment witnessed for the last two trading sessions. SPI had a volatile movement throughout the trading day, reaching an intraday high of 6,129 and finally closed for the trading day at 6,121, gaining 3 points. Turnover had dipped, however volumes remain high compared to the previous day. A net foreign inflow was recorded with high foreign participation.
International news now. A stampede outside the premises of Rajaji Hall in Chennai, where the remains of deceased Tamil Nadu politician M. Karunanidhi is kept for public respects, has killed at least 2 people, leaving another 30 people injured. The 5-time Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi, passed away yesterday at the age of 94, owing to health issues arising of old age. Meanwhile, his supporters yesterday reverted to damaging public property in grief of his demise. Streets in Chennai were blocked with supporters waving black DMK flags, the party he represented. The crowds were also upset with the state government over their refusal to allow the memorial of the late politician at the iconic Marina Beach in the city.
DMK chief and former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi was laid to rest with full state honours and a gun salute this evening. He was buried next to his mentor and former Chief Minister C.N. Annadurai at the Marina Beach. The Dravidian stalwart passed away at the age of 94 yesterday at Kaveri Hospital in Chennai after battling illness for a long time. The demise of Karunanidhi has left people across Tamil Nadu and hundreds of DMK cadres grieving for their leader. His mortal remains were kept at Rajaji Hall for the public to pay homage. As his supporters thronged to pay their respects, it gave rise to a stampede, killing at least 2 people and injuring dozens. As a mark of respect for the 5-time Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, both houses of parliament were adjourned after leaders paid respects to Karunanidhi. Meanwhile, yesterday, grieving supporters of deceased veteran South Indian politician expressed their agony by damaging public properties, including barricades placed near the hospital where he was being treated. Soon after the news of Karunanidhi's demise was released, his supporters gathered outside the Kaveri Hospital, all in tears for the former 5-time state chief belonging to regional atheist party DMK. People surrounded the ambulance carrying the remains of the popular Tamil leader and walked along the vehicle till his residence located in city of Chennai, while waving DMK flags and black flags protesting against the state government for not allowing his memorial at Marina Beach in the city. Since then, an Indian court has allowed veteran politician Karunanidhi to be buried at the iconic site despite the government's objections. Karunanidhi led DMK for about 50 years and was being treated in hospitals since the 26th of July for age-related ailments, including urinary tract infections. His death at 94 years of age comes less than 2 years after that of his bitter rival, actress-turned-politician J. Jayalalitha, leaving a political void in the state.
Now more news from around the world.
Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak arrived at the Kuala Lumpur court complex today, charged with 3 counts of money laundering as part of a probe into money missing from State Fund One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB. The charges are related to transfers of $10 million from SRC International, a former 1MDB unit, into Najib's personal bank account. Last month, Najib was arrested and charged with abuse of power and criminal breach of trust following a probe into SRC International. Australia's most populous state, New South Wales, is now entirely in drought, with the listing being confirmed today. A dry winter has intensified what has been called the worst drought in living memory in parts of eastern Australia. New South Wales produces about a quarter of Australia's agricultural output. Swiss Army helicopters began airlifting water to thousands of thirsty cows who are suffering in a drought and a heat wave that has hit much of Europe. Super Puma helicopters carried water to farms in the Jura Mountains and plain and alpine foothills. Some 40,000 cows graze in the summertime in hill-altitude pastures in the state of Canton in western Switzerland, and each need up to 150 litres of water a day.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
Minister of Petroleum Resources Development Arjuna Ranatunga laments the lack of a Minister of Sports who has the courage to change the constitution of Sri Lanka cricket. Speaking to media today, Sri Lanka's World Cup winning captain went on to say that incompetent persons are recruited to positions, adding that the incumbent Minister of Sports lacks the necessary power to do much in cricket.
ක්‍රීඩා ඇමතිවරයාට
As I see it, the current sports minister does not have enough power to make a positive change in the sport of cricket. Although there is a sports minister, I am not sure if there is even cricket in the country anymore. We saw the former minister as well as the present minister appointing persons who are incapable of doing anything for the sport. The sports minister is maybe thinking that I should not talk about cricket because they know more about it than I do. But if I do not talk about it, the public will criticise me. Cricketing legends such as Vettamuni, Sangakkara, Mahela and Murali have always requested that a change be made in the constitution. But we still have not got a minister that has a spine to do this.
ක්‍රීඩා ඇමතිවරයෙක් අද වෙනකන් ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ.
ජාතික මට්ටමේ කීඩකයන් සඳහා රැකියාව ලබා දීමේ කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාවට මොකද උනේ?
ඒක ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කර
The cabinet has rejected this. What the president told me was that he had instructed the sports minister to redraft this in a proper manner. This is a decision taken by the cabinet, but I have done my part.
මගේ යුතුකම කරලා තියෙනවා.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening everyone and welcome to Forecast First. The northern and eastern parts of the country are going to be rather warm during the day tomorrow with the highest temperature of 35 degrees Celsius expected in Trincomalee and Batticaloa districts. The central hills as usual will have milder temperatures with numbers dipping just below 20 degrees. There's good news for those who have been waiting for some rain over the last few days as the bottom half of the country is destined for some showers or thunder showers tomorrow. That means rains for Colombo, Kandy, Galle and Mathura districts. So don't forget your umbrellas. Our viewers in the upper region of the country, however, will have sunny weather for the next few days. That's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
All right, that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahish Johnny. First at 9, we'll return tomorrow at the same time. Be sure to join us then. Before we wrap things up for tonight, we like to take you to Badulla, where the ancient DHOWA rock temple is located. The 2,000-year-old temple is a protected heritage site in the Central Hills and is famous for its large unfinished image of Lord Buddha. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.